What the heck? There you go. That was weird. Alright, that'll work. Okay. Okay. There we are. Alright. Okay. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Alright. Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm getting notifications upon notifications upon notifications. Alright. That one should have been uploaded there. See you online here, Danny. So. Alright, hang on a second, Danny. See if I can find out what's going on there. Yeah. It's going to be this right. 8-2. Probably all out of order. No, that's definitely. Check that there. Come on, brain. Work for me here. Alright, here we go. Okay, that's correct. Alright. Let me so much to do, so little time. Da, 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 da. Okay. Hello, buddy. Okay. Had to roam around here for a little bit. There we go. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. I'll wait for a few minutes here. Hopefully, I'll get people to show up here after a little bit of time. Hey, Neon, how are you doing, my friend? How we doing today, Neon? I hope you're doing okay. All right, cool, bro. We may just wait just a couple more minutes. We're gonna wait for people to kind of come on in. I started a bit late, so to be fair, I'll just wait for people. It froze. It froze and then reset. All right. For some reason, I don't know why, it freezes up like this time of the day, even though I don't do anything. Like, it worked just fine. Like this morning, I didn't have any trouble this morning, to be perfectly honest. And then it like freezes for no reason. So I'm not even sure why. I literally have tried everything on it. So I just think it's bad connection. So Comcrap has Comcrap. How you doing today, Fernando? You doing okay today? Okay. Oh, it is. Okay. That was my phone. Okay. I was like, wait, what is that? That's my phone. How we doing today, Fernando? No problem, Danny. It's there. The videos are up there for you. Okay. All right. Hopefully, you guys doing well. We're gonna get started here in just a minute. Okay. All right. All right. Good stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and do this here at the very least. Let's do this. It's not a problem. All right. Okay, let's get started today. Welcome back to Wednesday, end of the week time today. So today, we're going to continue moving forward here in chapter 12. All right. Okay, so today we're going to be covering what we basically an extension off of what we discussed here last time. Last time we talked about how to arrange a data set into a frequency distribution, a stem and leaf plot, or even a histogram or frequency polygon. Just different ways to represent different sets of data. All right. And when you do basic statistics and you take a look at a particular sample, you want to put it into a much easier format that you can get, information off of. So today we're going to be essentially doing the same thing here in this case. All right. Only this time we want new sets of data here. Now, this sets of data is probably stuff you've heard before, and that is talking about measures of central tendency. Now, measure of central tendency is just super fancy words. Really nothing too crazy going on here in terms of measures of central tendency. But so this talks about our good old friends that you've probably heard before of mean, median, mode, and then finally we'll talk about one more concept of M here, which is mid-range. So that's what we'll be discussing here in this section today. Now, the first three you've probably heard before. We're just going to take a look at a slightly different aspect of how to solve for mean, median, mode, and mid-range. Now, most of you are familiar with mean here. Mean here typically means average, okay? Basically, as you know here, you take the sum of all the data items, all right, and you divide it by, again, the number of data items. Okay, so however many numbers you got, add them together, divide by how many numbers you got, and then there you go. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. All right, so not too hard when you think about it. You're like, here it is. Okay, great job. Okay, now what I want to look at though specifically is how we can find the mean here from other types of, we want to find the mean here specifically with, like, say, a set of data that's given to us here. And we'll find it in a couple of ways. Okay, so I want to at least discuss this here. So it's just kind of like a new take on maybe something that is, pretty relatively old hat for a lot of you. You've probably seen this quite often. So let's go ahead and look at it though. Okay, I'll bring out my paint tool for this. Should look like that. Holy moly. All right. All right. Okay. All right. That's actually not too hard. I'll show that off here in just a second, okay? It's not as bad as it may seem. Actually, I'll just show that off now. Pretty simple. Because I got to talk about sum of numbers. You use a piece of paper, it just makes it easier. 829622. Okay. So you got 3 plus 2, 5. So you got 3 plus 2, 5. 1. Put 1 here. You got 0. I put a 1 up here. That becomes 8. 18, 1, 4, 2, 6, 7, 15, and 10. All right, that's all you got to do. 10,578,15. That's it. Don't have a calculator, piece of paper. Piece of paper is pretty helpful for something like that. If it's a mental test, then you just go down the line here starting from the very right. You just have to line up the numbers properly there. No worries, bro. All right. So I want to talk about, let's go ahead and take a look at an example here. Let's take a good look here. Let's find the mean here of this data set in let's call it number 3. So here we're given, like, say, here's some data items. So we're given 91, 95, 99, 97, 93, and 95. So we're just going to go ahead and add these up here together. And so we're going to divide by how many scores we got here. We have 6 scores here between, in this case, between all of them. Again, we just want to go ahead and add 91 and 95 and all that stuff. So let's do that. And then we'll divide that by 6. So here we're going to get 570 here. We get, wait, did I put one thing on? Oh, you know what? You know what, Fernando? I think it's this one here that probably, yeah, I wrote this really bad, so sorry about that, Fernando. It's not your fault. That should be 93 there. Yeah, that's probably what threw you off there, to be fair. Yeah, that's not your fault. I saw like, oh, yeah, I could see how you can interpret that as a like 90. Yeah, I kind of thought you thought that to be 90, to be fair. So definitely not your fault there. Yeah, 95 is correct. All right, very good, very good. Hey, Fernando, are you doing okay, by the way? I'm just asking. Meh? All right. I remember last time I was kind of worried about you, buddy. I hope, I understand that my connection ain't, I understand my connection ain't the greatest, so I'm sorry if I, really frustrated you with my connection last class, okay? That's not my intention, okay? But there's things I can control and things, unfortunately, I can't control that well. But nevertheless, I still want to apologize. All right. Okay, so next here. So we found the mean here for number 3. Let's go ahead and find the mean here for the chart. This is where things are going to get a little bit different. Let's take a look here at let's look at number 10. Now, number 10 here has a frequency distribution. So we have scores from 1 to 7, and the amount of scores that fall underneath each one of these categories, okay, which is the frequency we see here. So the question is, how do we go ahead and solve for the mean in this particular case? Okay, so let's take a look at the key here behind a problem like this. All right, so the key is that we're trying, all we need to do is to multiply the score, in this case the score, and that's what it says there, with times the frequency, and add it all up together and divide it by the sum of the frequencies. Okay, so that's how we're going to find the mean here specifically, is we're going to first take each of the scores, multiply it by each of the respective frequencies. Why did that happen? Uh, accidentally did that. Try and type that out again, right? All right, so multiply the score times the frequency. And then divide by yeah. Okay, so like what we're gonna do here in this particular case is we're gonna take the score here, we'll take it as 1, all right? We'll take it as 1 times 2, that's the first line here. So the score times the frequency, 1 times 2, plus 2 times 4, plus 3 times 5. If you want, you can section these off in their own parentheses so you know you've done each line. Plus, what do we got here? 4 times 7. All right, plus, let's see here. Got 5 times 6. Plus 6 times 4. Plus 7 times 3. And we're going to divide all that by the sum of the frequencies. So we're going to add up all these frequency values here together, and that's exactly what we're going to divide by. So if we add all these together here, 2 plus 4 is 6. Again, we would do like 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus 7 plus 6 plus 4 plus 3, which is the sum of all the frequencies here. So let's take a look at what we get here in this case. We get, let's go ahead and add these together here, 2 plus 8 plus 15 plus 28 plus. All right. All right. So here we get, on the top, we get 128. And on the bottom here, we have 31 scores here. So we take 128 divided by 31. And here I get a final result here of 4.13. Okay. And that's going to be our final answer for that problem. Are there any questions about that? Questions, anybody? Sure, we have questions here. 31, yes. The reason why we got 31, we got 2 plus 4, which is 6, plus 5, which is 11, 11 plus 7, which is 18, 18 plus 6, which is 24, 24 plus 7, which is going to be 31. So that's the sum of all the frequencies that you have here. Remember, the frequencies is how many, the frequency represents how many scores we have overall, okay? That's correct, yes. So that's why I want to just kind of point this out here is what's the key here. The score times the frequency, and then the sum of the frequencies is what you have to divide by there. Hence the reason why that has to happen that way. Any other questions before we move forward? I just want to point that out for mean. So any other questions? Okay, no more questions. We'll go ahead and move forward. All right. Nah. Okay, fair enough. Okay, next. Let's go ahead and focus on the median. Okay, so we're going to talk about the median here next. So let's talk about what exactly the median is, all right? Because one of the things that does get confusing is what we have to do in order to solve for the median. Oh, I don't want to say that. All right, so the median here is not the mean, all right? The median here is basically going to be the data item that is in the middle of an ordered data set. Now the key words here is ordered data set. So when you want to do the median here, specifically, the median here has to be done with the idea that you have to take an ordered data set in mind. Okay? So you have to order the data set first. So again, let's make a note here. You must put the data set in order first before you find the median. All right, so this always has to be true. It has to be in like numerical order, otherwise we're not going to be able to find a median whatsoever. Okay, now we'll talk about a couple of things here, but let's look at an example here and we'll talk about the important aspects of finding the median. Okay, and let's go ahead and talk about, and this one's really super small. I want to do one that's a little bit longer here. Yeah, this one here is okay. So we'll look at number 19 there. It's a slightly bit of a tougher problem. Look at that data set there, and then we'll work with it. Okay? So let's look at number 19. So number 19 says we're given these numbers here, 1.6 and 3.8. Well, actually, I'll just leave it up there. I think you guys can see that. All right. So if I read all of them, it's going to take me a while. All right. More importantly, though, what we want to do here first is we want to go ahead and put this in numerical order. That's very important here for us to do. Let's go ahead and do that here first, and let's see what we get. Okay? So, in this particular instance, let's start with the lowest number here. The lowest number here we see is 1.6. Look at the next biggest number here, which is going to be 2.5, looks like. We also have a second 2.5, so we're going to put it right there. Let's see, what else? Next number up is 2.7. Next number up after that is, it's like 3.2. Okay. Next number up after 3.2 is 3.6. Yeah, 3.6. Then we have 3.8, so that's the next one up. And we have 4.2 looks like 2 times. 2 times with 4.2, so we'll put I'll put this over here, 4.2 a couple times. No, I guess I don't have the space for it. That's okay. Let's put it in the next line over. Okay, so 4.2 a couple times. Let's see, 4.7 and 5.0. Okay, so these are essentially going to be our these essentially are going to be our guys here. All right, no problem, easy peasy. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look here at this particular problem, and let's see how we can make out. Okay, now the important point about the important point in the median here is actually first finding the middle part here of the median. So let's talk about that here first, because there are two scenarios that can happen here in this instance. The first thing that we have to do in order to find the median, first and foremost, is the position of the median. So if you have to find so again, step one here is to find the position of the median. So this is, again, after ordering the data set, find the position of the median. Okay, now the position of the median here has a particular formula that goes with it. All right, so the position of the median here is equal to the number of data items, plus 1 divided by 2. Okay, so the number of data items plus 1 divided by 2 is in effect going to be the position of our median. Again, that's not the median, it's just where we can find that median in particular. Okay, now we are going to run into one of two scenarios here. Because we are dividing by 2, you either get a nice whole number or you get something with a half in it. That's pretty much what's going to happen every single time. And so we have to take this scenario here in one of two ways based on how many data items that we have. So let's make a very important note here. So step 2 is if the number of data items is odd, then the median is at the position located in step 1. So if it's odd, you don't really have to worry about the median at all. It's right where you should find it, no problem. Simple as that. However, there is the other side of things, is that's what happens if the number of data items is even. Then the median is the mean of the two numbers around that position. Okay, so we get two scenarios here, and it's all dependent on how many data items that we're actually given. Either A, there's an odd number of data items, in which case we'll find it directly without any trouble. Or again, if it's even, well, we need to find the mean of the two numbers around that said position. So let's take a good look at our scenario here in this case. In our scenario, let's go ahead and count how many numbers that we actually have. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 numbers here. So a number of data items equals 11. Now, the important point here is that the position of the median is the first thing that we have to determine. The position of the median here is equal to 11 plus 1 divided by 2, which is equal to 12 divided by 2, which equals 6. So the sixth position, so we're going to find the median here in the sixth position, all right? So let's go ahead and count out 6 numbers here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in this case here, where I'm drawing this red arrow, this is where the median would be located at 3.6. So the median here is 3.6. Okay? Any questions about that so far? I'm going to do the other scenario here in just a second, but any questions? No. Okay. Well, that's perfectly fine. That shouldn't be a problem at all. Nothing? Okay. Now, let's add one more part here to this scenario. This is going to be important here. I'm going to add one more part here to this scenario. Let's say I add another number. Okay, let's say I add, and I'll add this in like purple here. Let's say I add 5.1. Okay, so I just adding that extra number there as part of my data set. It's in order with the rest of the numbers that we see there. Okay, so there's no surprises, coming along. It's just pretty much exactly what you see. Easy peasy. Now, in this scenario here, with the extra 5.1 that we added in, to this new scenario, well, now the number of data items here in this case, number of data items now in this scenario is 12. So now our position here of our median, so the median position, this is going to equal 12 plus 1 divided by 2, which if you quickly do that out is going to be the 6.5 position. I'll mark that here in purple again. So I'm going to count to the 6.5 position here. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. And here is where it's located, between 3.6 and 3.8. And so this goes back to what we talked about here earlier. We're like, okay, that's why for even, we take the mean of the two numbers around that position. Because realistically, there's no number actually at the 6.5 position. That doesn't make any sense in real life. But in order to get around that, we want to take the mean of the two numbers around that arrow, which in this case is going to be 3.6 and 3.8. So the median here specifically is going to be 3.6 plus 3.8 divided by 2. So you're just taking a simple mean. And so here you're just going to get straight up 3.7. Okay? So there's the significant difference between the two here, depending on how many data items that you actually have contained within the data set itself. Okay. Any questions about that? Nothing? Nothing. All right. Which is fine. That's fine. That is okay. All right. Let's look at the, let's go ahead and take a look here at the next one. Okay. That's how we can find the median here. Shouldn't require us to do so much. Okay. Next part here. Okay. the next one here is let's talk about mode. All right. Now, mode here by itself, not very hard, at least on the base definition. So, mode here is the data item or items that occur the most often in a data set. Okay. Now, one thing that I want to clarify here, though, is even though that's the base definition here, there's going to be certain things that we do want to make note of here. There are certain rules that we can have that we can apply here for mode, especially. So that way we make it crystal clear about what's possible and what's not possible here. Try to underline that. Do that. All right. So the rules for mode are very easy, but just have to keep them in mind. So, um, so to qualify for a mode, the data item must be in the data set more than once. Okay, so if it's there just one time, it doesn't count. Okay, if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, well, none of those numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 count as part of my mode. Now this leads us to the second result here about the rules, is that it is possible to have no mode. All right, so like I mentioned here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is a data set that has no mode. All of them occur once, none of them occur any multiple times, and then, guess what? Too bad, you just don't have a mode for that particular data set. Entirely plausible. On the flip side of things, based on the definition that you see there, it is also possible to have multiple modes. So it's entirely plausible that we could have multiple modes as opposed to just one. So you're not limited to one number. You have to take a look at which data item or data items, and that's why I put that in parentheses there, occur the most often in the data set. Okay. So these are 3 rules that we have to follow when it comes to mode. Okay. And apart from that, it's just a pure inspection sort of deal. You just have to go ahead and just be like, okay, this is in order, this is in order. All right, that's fine. Let's take a look at an example here for mode, and we'll apply that here for this problem. Okay. My cursor go? Oh, there it is. All righty. So let's go ahead and just put in number 30 here. So number 30 here is 1, 3, 5, 10, 8, 5, 6, 8. Yeah. Now, if you think that's easier to put this in numerical order, you can go ahead and do so. But let's take a good look here at the mode. What's the mode of this particular data set? What data item or data items occur the most often in this data set? What would be the mode here in this particular data set? Okay. 5. 5, okay. Are there any other modes besides 5? 5 occurs 2 times in the data set. Are there any other numbers that occur 2 times in the data set? Because it has to occur the most number of times. 8, that's correct. So in fact, in this particular instance, there are 2 modes. 5 occurs twice and 8 occurs twice. Every other number occurs only once. So like I mentioned here before, you could have 2 modes. That's certainly plausible. In this case, this is a scenario where that can happen. Okay? Any questions about that? Well, hopefully that's not too bad. All right. Okay. Finally, let's go ahead and take a look here at this last. Well, actually, we'll take a look here actually at one more thing when it comes to mode. How do you find a mode in a frequency distribution? So if we go back to our example here, let's say you were looking at number 10 again. Okay. Do you think your mode would be here in this case? What do you believe your mode to be here? Here's another way of thinking about it in this particular scenario. Let me rephrase the question here just a little bit, and then it'll be obvious which one is going to be your mode. Okay, basically your mode is, you have to ask is, which number slash score, yes, thank you, computer. Which number slash score has the highest frequency? Which number slash score has the highest frequency in, say, number 10? What do you guys think? What do you guys think here? I'll wait. This isn't too hard. 6. So if we take a look at number 10 here, take a look at 10 here. 6 has a frequency of 4. So what's the highest frequency you see in the chart? What's the highest frequency you see in the chart there, Eon? Okay, 7 is the highest frequency here. Now, what score is that associated with? 7 is the highest amount of frequency. That's okay. So what score? 4. That's correct. So the mode here, specifically for number 10, would be equal to 4 because it has the highest frequency in the table. Okay? Most students got a score of, say, 4 out of 7 points on this, say, quiz or something like that. Okay? And that's why the mode here is 4, because it contains the highest frequency. If there's a tie, then they're both modes, okay? Whatever the case may be. All right, any questions about that? So hopefully that be a bit easy. All right. Now, the last part here that we're going to talk about here for today is we're going to go ahead and talk about mid-range. All right. So that's the last part here we'll discuss for this lesson here. Mid-range is pretty easy. Mid-range is a very small calculation here. All you have to do is take the smallest data item. Let's put that in parentheses there. Take the smallest data item, add it to the largest data item, and then divide it by 2. That's all you have to do there for the mid-range. So, for example, let's go back to number 10, our frequency chart here. Okay, number 10 here is really, really easy because it doesn't require any effort, really. Number 10 is we take a look at the smallest score. The smallest score here would be 1. Okay, that's the smallest data item. The highest score you could get on this quiz is 7. All right, and that's 7 points on the quiz here. And then we just divide that by 2. And so again, 1 plus 7 divided by 2, that's 4. And then it's so mid-range is different than that of range. So range is basically the highest minus the lowest, whereas mid-range is the smallest, the highest plus the lowest divided by 2. So your range here would be, highest minus lowest. So there's the difference there between the two. We're just talking about the midpoint between the highest and the lowest, as opposed to how many scores are in between the highest and lowest there. That's the key difference that we have there. All right, and that's pretty much what's again. I thought you froze again, but it was my broken phone cord that charges and not charges. Eh? What kind of phone you got there, Neon? Out of curiosity. I hope you got like a good phone at the very least. Well, I hope your phone's not an Apple. So. It pauses when it stops charging. The iPhone X, I'm so sorry to hear that. There, that's my opinion on the matter. Apple is terrible, switch to the Android. You may like it though, but I bet you're gonna spend a ton of money in like a year, in like this year or next year, or next year more than likely. I know it's the cord. I know he said it was the cord, but I have a bigger issue with Apple as a product. So the cord's not the biggest issue. The biggest issue is that if let's say the phone breaks, or let's say Neon drops the phone on accident, because that can happen, then he has to go get it fixed. Well, there's only one place to get it fixed, and that's at the Apple Store. And then the Apple Store will come around and they'll say, well, we're going to charge you an arm and a leg to fix, blah, blah, blah thing because you dropped your phone, you know? So basically, they're like, well, you can either pay for this repair for this old iPhone, or you can go and upgrade to get to the newest phone, and you just have to be charged another X amount of money, And then you probably think, well, it's probably better if I get the newer phone, as opposed to sticking with the old phone, because the price to fix it will be just a bit less than buying the new one. So you go ahead and buy the new one in order to keep track of all the iPhones that come out. And then you just begin to realize that if it happens again, you're going to be stuck in the same scenario here once again. And that's like that's the business practice of what Apple does every single time. That's why I don't do Apple. As their business. I mean, iOS looks great, but yeah, their business planning is very shady at best. So my phone is like a OnePlus phone. The company's called OnePlus, and it works just fine. I don't even need to swap out batteries. It's got USB-C warp charging thing. My phone will charge in literally like about 30 minutes. So super easy. I mean, I like it. So OnePlus is by far much better, and you get more bang for your buck. I mean, my last phone, which was a second gen phone, that cost like $300. I had that for like 4 or 5 years. I have this phone, and it's gonna eventually slow down because again, phones are just required to have a whole lot more these days. But you know, it's just like I'll probably have this for like 4 or 5 years, and I've had it for like 3 now, but I'll have it for another hopefully 2 3 years, and then I'll go replace it with maybe uh, a generation phone that's probably two generations away, so 2 3 generations away. So which will be fine. That'll be great. So yeah, that's what I kind of do there. All right. Okay. Very good, everybody. Very good. Very good. Very good. Alrighty. So that'll take care of it for today. All right. All right, everybody. I'm gonna end it off here for today. Make sure you get a better phone. Uh, at at your own time, of course, and when you have the money. Um. All right, but that'll take care for today, everybody. I want to thank you all very much for coming on out here to the stream once again. We're going to come back next time, and we're going to do a little bit more with statistics. We're going to talk about newer stuff here with data sets. So we're going to be working with more with data sets here, but in a different way that you probably have not seen before from way back in the day. So it'll be very different than your mean, median, mode, and mid-range. So that's for sure. Okay. Great job, everybody. All right. Are there, before I go, are there any other questions you guys have? All right. Well, then we'll leave it off here for today. All right. Thanks, guys, very much. And we will see you next week. All right. Everyone, have yourself a very wonderful weekend. All right. Stay safe, stay happy, and stay healthy. All right. We'll see you